Hi, I'm Darshan Patel from Cisco, and let's get started to understand 9800 cloud monitoring or 9800 monitoring on Meraki dashboard along with its access points that are connected on 9800. So the purpose of why we need to go to cloud monitoring or why not, and the easiest answers will be our strategic planning for 9800 from your company has been moved towards cloud. That is a cloud first approach, or you have many multiple different branches where you have 9800s and your access points, or you have enterprise network where you have existing Meraki network and, for example, convention center that you have it, or high density environment where you have 9800 wireless controller and APs connected to 9800. So in order to manage onto the same network, what can be done? So that's where we have created a solution that entire all that different networks can be monitored and managed in some instances on Meraki dashboard. For our purpose, let's talk about 9800 monitoring on Meraki dashboard. So there are three simple steps. We need to go into the 9800 wireless controller and then go into the cloud services and say enable network. Then we have to come into the Meraki dashboard. The unique ID that is being created, we have to claim that over 9800 wireless controller, add to an existing network or create a new network, and then from there we can go ahead and create either a same adding those access points onto the same network as 9800 wireless controller, or create a separate network for access points based on their site tags. Let's understand some of the things that can be done and cannot be done. We cannot mix existing Meraki managed access points, that all those changes of RRM directly which can be done on your Meraki dashboard, those are called Meraki managed, and that cannot be mixed with 9800 wireless controller onto the same network. They have to be on a separate networks, similar to MS and monitored catalyst switches. So when we say MR or MS, it is called Meraki managed, because managed is everything, the changes, configuration, everything that is being done on Meraki dashboard. Monitored is where you can monitor your switches or wireless controller clients network level information on Meraki dashboard. Now moving on to wireless controllers and monitored access points can be on the same network or they can be on a separate network. For example, if you have your wireless controller in data center, then it will be on a separate network is recommended, and have your access points being on a separate network. If they are at the small branch sites, about 20, 30 access points, 50 access points, that along with a wireless controller, that could be just as a one network. So what can be done over here and what can be managed? So supported hardware that we have with every hardware in a 9800, 80s, 40s, LC and LF, along with our newer hardware that is 9800 H1, H2 and M. Supported software is 17.12.3 or above, or 17.15.1 and above. Now one of the caveat we need to understand that last supported for wave 2 access point is 17.12.3 as of now, and it is not being supported in 17.15.1. So here's the list of all wave 2 Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 6E access points that can be connected on 9800 wireless controller can be monitored in Meraki dashboard. And we are definitely working towards integrating newer IW916765 access points that can be monitored on Meraki dashboard in future. We are considering it. So a few things that we need to understand before getting started is if you have your 9800 wireless controller, obviously if you have never created Meraki dashboard, you need to allow this IP addresses and this ports, as we can see over here. And then just the regular configuration on the wireless controller, best practices over here. This is more about next tunnel, TLS and encryption, which is the default. We do not have to make any changes. No additional Meraki licenses are required. And your existing DNA Advantage or DNA Essential license that can be used. The Advantage license will provide more for NBAR and NetFlow. And there are separate configuration CLI commands that can be obtained based on description in a link if you want to enable NBAR and NetFlow information in Meraki dashboard. And we will look into it in our next video. Only one wireless controller or one HA pair can be monitored on per network. Does not support HTTP proxy. And the highest that it can support is 2000 access points per wireless controller like 9800 AT. And we are definitely working towards to add all the way to 5000 access points as well per wireless controller in per network. So let's get started to understand what can be done. First of all, we will go into our 9800L wireless controller, go into configuration, go into cloud services, then select Meraki, and all we have to do is select Meraki Connect, enable that, and apply. Once you do it, in just a couple of minutes, it will provide you the information about Cloud ID. And this is where we are going to go ahead, copy it. It is called Cloud Serial Number of Wireless Controller. This information can also be found on your CLI with the help of Show Meraki or Show Meraki Connect, and provides a lot more information as well. Once you obtain that information, we can go into Meraki dashboard, go under organization, under inventory, and go ahead and say claim devices. So under claim devices, simply what I asked you to go ahead and copy that cloud serial number, you have to paste it and say claim. Once you claim that network, it will go ahead and show up. Similarly over here, that we can see our 9800 wireless controller being monitored into a network. So for example, let's take an example over here. This is a wireless controller. We can select it and then say add to network. We have to just do it right here. Either we can create a new network or we can have an existing network. For example, over here as monitoring, 9800 Thirst monitoring, and we can say add to network, and it simply go ahead and add that wireless controller into that monitoring. In this example, what we did is we also added access points into the same network for monitoring. And because the access point is not connected to the network. Let's understand that once you have it in our network, we will have those options over here. This is my existing network for Meraki, that is MS, MX, and MR access points, and I have created a separate network for 9800 monitoring along with those access points. So I will go ahead and see that. What does it look like? And it will take a couple of more minutes because it will create a unique serial number for each access points for monitoring as well. And that's the reason it can take some time for access points to show up. As we can see over here, let's take a look for overview of wireless controller. It is just taking some time over here for it to show up, and we can take a look into our wireless controller to understand where it is. The previous screen that you saw, that was based on a wireless client on 1715. My iPhone is connected to that network. This network is being shown as our 9800L wireless controller being up and running, currently having one access point, and that's about it. It will go ahead, let that page roll. It might be due to my service provider that is having that latency, and we will see more about it. Why is it causing it? As we can see, the client was connected, and as we can see, our historical data of 9800 being monitored. Thank you so much, and we will talk more about what does this cloud monitoring provide in our next